Oh, what is up, everybody? It's game day, and it's only the biggest game day in half a generation. It is time for a little bit of House Divided here on Orange Bloods Live. It's just a different House Divided than we've done in the past because, there's this little Ohio State game in a few hours. We decided, let's make this thing modcast worthy. Let's go Chad Hastings, Jason Sucamel, Cody Carpentier. We'd have Alex on here, but he's got some things he's doing. We'd have Anwar on here, but he's driving to Dallas and needs to be safe. And quite frankly, we'd have Travis Gailey on today as well, except he's at a brisket camp, and I'm not quite sure what that means. It's in College Station, Chad.
Hey, you know what? Let's go.
He's like, I do it, Catch, but I have a session at brisket camp at noon. And I was like, okay. So what we have is everybody that could be available is here on today's show. And we're going to be talking Texas, Ohio State. Like, comment, subscribe, jump into the Specs chat, super chat it up. Like, we're just talking Texas, Ohio State with a little bit of Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame, a lot of states mixed into the conversation. Guys, I'm just going to – Jason, I'll go to you first because you and I have worked together the longest. Today is one of the biggest moments in Texas football in the last quarter century. I mean, other than USC and Texas and Alabama and Texas in 2010, this might be number.
They're in basically the semifinals last year. So
no. Last year was a semifinal for the right to be beaten by Michigan.
Well, that's probably true.
Tonight is the national championship game. I
think you're right. Yeah.
This is like in the early 90s when either the Cowboys or the 49ers would come out of the NFC and it would be like, they're going to play the Chargers in the Super Bowl. Guess what? Steve Young has 9 touchdowns. Like I really feel like when the championship game is played next Monday, there'll be a coronation for the team that wins tonight. Notre Dame is begging to be beaten by multiple scores next week. So I disagree. This is not the same as Washington. Does it feel the same as Washington? I guess I would stay there because it doesn't for me.
I was kind of being silly. I mean, even just the fact that it's Ohio State, right? And it's the first year of the 12-team play. It doesn't have the same – I mean, last year was awesome. Don't get me wrong. But this does not have the same feel as last year. I was being silly.
And it might be, honestly, if the shadow of Michigan didn't loom, because it really did feel like last year, like, okay, well, you beat Washington. It didn't mean that automatically meant anything the next week. This, I think, just feels different. Cody, what's your vibe? What are you thinking about today?
In my column the other day, I kind of tabbed it the game of the decade, and in parentheses I wrote, I'm not going to overstep here and say that's a fact 100% that this could be one of the biggest moments in program history. Like I said, I haven't been here long enough. I haven't been alive long enough to even proclaim that.
Rub it in, Cody. Rub it in.
How old were you in 2010?
In 2010, I would have been 14.
But when did you? No, but you were 13, probably in early 2010, right?
So I turned. I don't know what would have been. I early 2020 would have been I just turned because I turned it in December.
Okay.
So my thoughts pretty much are this, and that I think you can lose this game and you can pretty much come back home, be done, and move on to next year. You got Arch. The team's built. He's coming off a number 1 recruiting class. But I think that this game kind of, to me, is that stepping stone that you look back to like Kirby Smart in 2021. They lost to Bama in the SEC championship, came back, won the next game, and then they won the championship. And that's kind of what put them up to win back-to-back championships. And that's kind of put Georgia where they're at today. And I think this is a game in the recruiting realm and just in the national spotlight that really tells everybody you're here. I mean, Texas they're here, they're back, whatever you want to say, but this really puts them on that top of the food chain map. I know you still have to go win that championship game next week, hypothetically, but I think that really winning this thing could potentially be that real stepping stone that takes you to the next level.
Chad, Cody's describing the difference between knocking on the door and kicking the damn thing down and like walking in with a pimp strut.
Yeah, I like the analogy. I like it. In fact, let's get a couple super chats. I'll let some Longhorn fans speak for me. $9.99. Oscar says Texas Longhorn by Django Walker on repeat all day. Maybe a thought for fourth quarter if that exists. Nerves are through the roof. I can't help but be intensely excited and scared all at the same time. Eat a bag of Ryan Day. Huck 'em for life. LFG. We also got one that is just a simple $1.99 capital letters. We're going to win tonight.
Who
And-
doesn't love eat a bag of dicks as like just an insult? Like everybody, it is the one insult that I feel like every person on the planet can say to each other, and you don't get insulted by like, I don't think there's a single group of people except for maybe dicks that that would have an issue with that. It's funny. Nice job, Oscar. You cracked me up.
It's so colorful and evocative, and it puts things in your mind. It's incredible.
It's like
Oscar's always in our post-game chat, and I'm always wondering maybe he's got a couple cocktails in him. Maybe Oscar's hitting the bottle early today, maybe.
Careful with your cocktails.
Yeah,
comment there.
Oscar-
Good point, yes.
Oscar and his dad always sometimes popping in the chat with some craziness, and Oscar's getting started early. But catch, to me, this is a game about, I mean, it's historic in just every way. That's the word that's just been in my head. It's historic. These programs are historic. What is it? Eight titles claimed by one, 4 titles claimed by the other. They're blue bloods, but now it's real. And now you earn it through the steps of a playoff process. The tension last night was incredible. And now
what a game.
It was an incredible game back and forth. And then it's about, that Notre Dame team earning their way to the game. You can say whatever you want about all these other teams and what happened during the season. They got it done. They bounced back from the Northern Illinois thing, and they rattled all the way to the championship. And tonight, I mean, just everything that's on the line, the reps, the fan bases, Sark, Day, Quinn Ewers against Ohio State, the stud of Jeremiah Smith, and can somebody stop him? The weapons of Texas, can somebody stop them? Just all of it. And then to Cody's point, it is about, are you in the group with Georgia, Bama? I'll still give Bama the respect. Maybe DeBoer loses it, but Georgia, Bama, Ohio State. If they're the Kings, then does Texas get the 4th spot? And I think winning this game could tell everybody, okay, they're in this discussion. They're about to go play for a natty, and, and officially not just be back, not back in a discussion, but like you said, not just kick the door open, but grab the keys as well.
I saw Alabama offered a national kid today, by the way. Jason, you'll appreciate this. I don't know. I don't remember who it was. I saw an offer being reported, and I thought, big fucking deal. So I think Alabama's still in, Chad, but on probationary status.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm just trying to give the respect. It's been, right?
Exactly. When you've been King Kong, nobody gets to stop calling you an ape immediately, right? So I feel you, but I'm just saying, earlier today, I literally saw an Alabama offer being reported, and I thought, it's different now than when Nick Saban offered. And I think that may mean they're no longer in the club, but maybe none of us can fully know it yet. All right, so like the one thing I will say, I've been a little bit, I have to do this delicately, and I see the super chats are coming in. Matt, we'll be right with you. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, Sark does the press conference, the last media availability before the game starts. And Jason, he mentions the Bert Auburn, Will Stone conversation. And he kind of intimated that might be a game time decision. And my initial reaction to that was, no way it's a game time decision. Like, whatever happens, barring Bert Auburn showing up at the stadium and just shanking balls left and right, surely because one kid's right-footed and the other one's left-footed, you don't make that decision changing the holder. And I'm telling you, the deep snapper will have some issues with snapping to – it's just different. So I've been thinking it's going to be Bert Auburn. Now, I can't confirm it. I am not breaking news here on the show. But I have reasons to suspect that Will Stone is going to be handling the place kicking for Texas this evening. And
do you think is it something physical with Bert Auburn, or is this? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you heard, but do you think it's a physical ailment?
no,
Or
I think they have.
just production.
I think they are at the Sark. I think is at the Hudson Card stage of, or maybe if we want to keep it as recent as possible, he's at the Jaden Blue fumble stage.
Yeah, they think he's got the yips.
Yeah, and when I got, again, I'm not reporting, I'm not breaking news, but I have reasons to believe that the thing that I scoffed at yesterday was they're not doing this. There's no way they're making that change given some of the nuances involved. They're not, I just didn't believe it. And then today I have reasons to believe, you know what, that might actually happen. Guys, I'll be honest, I have no idea how to process or what to think about Will Stone handling the kicking duties tonight. It will be funny if he goes 3 for 3 and we all go, why didn't this happen 8 weeks ago? But nevertheless, it is one of the things we'll be watching as the game gets close to. We're going to be doing a pregame show, by the way, at 6 for those of you who are watching. We're going to go from 6 to 6:30, just 30 minutes before the game, just some discussion of the game. That's one of the things that we'll be looking at in the pregame is the kicking situation. But
you sent that message this morning that you were hearing this might happen, right? And
yes.
My reaction was, okay, there are going to be a lot of 4th down attempts by Texas then, probably, because if it's Will Stone today, what's your trust level in him? I mean, 40 yards, is that your man? I mean, I don't know.
Right.
I mean,
and are you trusting him? Clearly, you're saying you're trusting him in a situation you wouldn't trust Bert Auburn, right? It's an important thing in all walks of life, right? Your buddy's talking to you about, maybe I'm going to break up with her. And you just say, well, do you trust her? And if the answer is no, then it's like, well, okay, So if he does this, he's saying at any distance, for anything, extra point I just don't trust the kid. And then that ultimately means he does trust Stone to hit extra points.
It means that in a year, it means on Saturday night, Chad, or even Saturday morning, as the case will be, when Steve Sarkisian puts his head on a pillow to try to go to sleep. If Texas has lost, it will mean he will not be staying up saying to himself, I can't believe I didn't do the thing that I've been telling myself for weeks I need to do. And you live with that regret for the rest of your life. If you play Will Stone tonight and he misses, then you just didn't have a kicker. But the one thing you can't do is the definition of insanity, and it is continuing to do the same thing over and over and over again and expecting the results to change. And I think maybe when I've said that he would lean into Bert Auburn because it's such a bad time to make this change, you could do this in the week of the Florida game. Can you do it the week of Ohio State?
Yeah.
But I get it, man. Like, look, as someone who tries to make decisions in his life that will leave him without feeling regret, like whether I'm right or wrong, I loathe the idea of second guessing myself because I didn't trust my instincts. And it would appear that, like, if they make the Will Stone change, it's got to be for everything. And I think it would be the sign that, quite frankly, Bert Auburn probably never kicks at Texas again. He's got to go. You know what I mean? If he's going to stick around for another year, he's probably, like, the trust is potentially all the way gone. And I get it, man. Like, Bert Auburn is a problem for Texas right now. And all week long, Chad's been asking. You know what, Chad? I want to pose the question to Cody and Jason that we've asked each other this week, okay?
Okay.
If either of you guys were Ryan Day and Cody, I'll go to you first on this. You're Steve Sarkisian, okay? And before the game, you're offered a 45-yard kick to win the game as time expires. But you get to choose whether it's your kicker or Ohio State's kicker that's kicking for the win as time expires. Do you want the 45 kick to be yours, or do you want the 45-yard kick to be Ohio State's?
Is it a tie game?
No. The team that's kicking is trailing.
Chad's rules, by the way, I didn't know how to answer that, but he did.
Well, let's go with Ketch's score. Ketch is picking 17-16, and he says a miss could end the game in his mind. But let's make it that, Cody. So if you miss it, you lose. But if you hit it 45 yards, hit it, you win. Miss it, you lose. Do you want the kick?
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it with Bert. A 45. I think if they align it straight, I think I would just take the chances. I'd take my chances.
What if he knows it's Stone?
Well, I think that's a different ballgame. I've never seen Stone kick in a game.
By the way, Cody, Bert Auburn is 42.9% this season on kicks of 40-plus yards. So the statistical data would tell you.
Wow.
Yeah, but Ohio State's guy is 6 of 7 in the 40-yard range. So the odds are he's probably going to make it.
Yeah, his embarrassment.
Cody, I'm taking Bert.
Yeah.
Bert, I'm going to ride with you in that crazy Harry of yours. Let's do it. Let's get it done. Yep.
Can I ask also, like, I know, Ketch, you've been talking about the deep snapper all week, and like I agree with you. I deep snapped in high school as well, and it's like I never had to snap to a different sided kicker. It was always a right-sided kicker.
Yeah.
But there's 3 deep snappers on this roster, and correct me if I'm wrong, everybody gets to travel to the game, right? The whole roster?
I don't think so. Well, they don't all get to suit up.
So is there a hypothetical where a different deep snapper, it's just a whole different unit of snapper?
Can't do that. You can't. They love their deep snapper. They think they have an NFL deep snapper.
Correct. If you switch into Stone, like you said, like you don't want to switch the direction. You got him dialed into that one thing. What if Stone's been practicing the whole season with a different deep snapper?
Which he probably has.
And they just go, all right, implement that in.
You just have couple deep snappers on the sideline, and you just scream out right or left, and then.
But you're also changing your holder, like the whole thing.
So if it's Stone, is it not Michael Kern holding tonight? You think it's a different holder?
I would assume it's a different holder. That
would be tough, man. Flipping, you're kind of going being left-handed to right-handed the way you have to catch it and place it.
Jason, I've told this story when I was a freshman in high school at McCallum. They had kicking tryouts on the 9th grade team, and everybody on the team got a chance to kick like a 30-yard field goal. I was the only left-footed kicker on the entire 9th grade McCallum football team. And when it came time for me to take my swing at a 30-yard field goal, it took like 15 minutes to just get it set up and pulled off. The snapper, and there literally wasn't a holder.
Did you make the kick? Now I got to know. Did you make the kick?
I made 2. I was one of 2.
Okay.
I was one of 2. The first one I shanked so badly that I was like, no, you have to give me another one. And they did, and I made it. And then it wasn't pretty, and I wasn't a kicker. But I learned in that one practice, like how complicated. I hadn't really never thought about it before, because I don't mean to be left-footed. And because I'm like a center.
Are you one of these weirdos that's right-handed but left-footed?
Yes.
Yeah, you're weird. I got cousins like that.
But I'm telling you, I've seen it at a very low level, but I've seen how complicated. And even I'm telling you, and Cody can speak to this too. When you snap, it'll be in your head, and as if the guy snapping doesn't have enough things to worry about. Guys jumping over him, and Penn State almost blocks that Ohio State kick, at the end of the game last night. And it all came up the middle. Yeah. But they didn't, and the kid makes the kick. But it's just, I don't know. It's a when was the last time this? I can't think.
No.
It's one thing to make a change at kicker, but it would be like changing quarterbacks and changing to a left-handed quarterback, and everything changes slightly.
Yeah. The only time we've ever seen this in our lives at kicker in a game of this magnitude is because of injury. I mean, that's it. A guy gets hurt during the game. A punter or kicker gets hurt in a previous game. So you go into the game, and we've seen it. I'm thinking of the Niners for some reason this year. I think they went through it where you literally have a kicker hurt maybe early in a game, and in the fourth quarter, you're like, if you're just tuning in, the Niners are going to have to go for every 4th down because they have no kicker that they trust other than an extra point.
Cody, what I would tell you is I don't know. It's a great question. The more I think about it, the more it's like, What matters most if you're making the change to Will Stone is that snapper, holder, kicker are all on the same page by any means necessary. And if that means either Cody and I have to suit up and snap it because that's the relationship that they feel most comfortable with. I'm going to ask my kicker, what holder do you feel best with?
Right.
Who do you
And
trust?
that's a weird combo question that imagine if those 3 guys would be different, but the other 8 are the same, no matter what. Like there's 8 guys that would tell you, oh, I'm on field goal and extra point no matter what.
But it would change a little bit, though, because you protect, depending on what side your kicker is kicking from,
right?
Your protection sets up differently to protect a right-footed kicker to the left versus the right. You are changing your protection and the responsibilities, not a ton, right? The tight end on the fucking goal line team doesn't have to do too much, but it is slightly different. And, slim margins. I woke up this morning. We've talked about so many in an airtight game. How many ways can the slim margins either help you win or help you lose? I think I'm totally focused on this as a thing that the slim margin that can make you lose. But God, I watched last night. And I watched in the biggest moment of his career, James Franklin make an absolute silly strategic decision to have the ball at the 15-yard line with 40 seconds to go. 2,000-yard running backs that you could lean on in overtime if you needed to. And he was like, hey, my quarterback hasn't thrown a ball to a wide receiver that's been caught all game. He's had 2 interceptions wiped off the board with penalties. Screw it. Let's be aggressive and go for it. And it backfired. And Notre Dame ended up with the ball within range to kick a game-winning field goal. And so I'm leaning into, God almighty, Ryan Day could screw this up tonight for Ohio State. Just get this game to the last 2 minutes. And James Franklin's not taking a lot of heat today. And I'm not saying Penn State choked. I'm not throwing James Franklin under the bus. I thought his team played really well last night. And I actually give both of those teams a lot of credit for.
And he made some non-James Franklin decisions up until that moment. He was so not James Franklin, taking field goals, not faking punts.
Punting.
And
I wanted to call you, Chad, and go, look how good James Franklin is doing this.
I put it in our team chat. I'm like, oh my God, smart football meets James Franklin. This new playoff is wild. Like,
hey, when they're taking field goals,
the universe.
Chad, he did the thing I said Sark's got to do tonight. Like, hey, if it's 4th and 3 from the 7-yard line in the first quarter,
got to take the points.
Take your 3 points, man. Just keep accumulating points.
Right, which gets us back to this discussion. That's where I have been saying, if you can get an easy kick early, see if you can get Auburn some confidence. But if he's already made the choice that he doesn't trust him, is that the opportunity to run Stone out there and
you
say,
have to give Stone an easy one?
Here's a 28-yarder to get you started.
And you almost bet for like a 4th and 10. What you almost want is like 4th and 10, 28-yard field goal.
How much an extra point? Can we just get an extra point?
It's not the same.
Even better, right?
I'm just saying, if it's not a touchdown and an extra point, you go to that. And Jason, how dare you?
Will Stone doesn't even have a PAT in his career, does he?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I got to look that up. I don't think he's ever kicked anything other than a kickoff.
Look up those numbers. Let me grab some super chats here. We got 3 of them we can get to. Folks are fired up about the game. Jump in if you want. Barb's 10 for 10 says, I'll be at TCH stressing but positive. We'll get a feel for how this goes by the end of the first half. Whoever wins will smoke Notre Dame by 14. Barb's 10. I think there's a lot of people that might agree with you on that.
I'm picking whoever wins this game to beat Notre Dame, but let's not act like Notre Dame can't beat either one of these 2 teams.
They can't. They won't.
Dude, Texas almost lost to Arizona State. You don't think they could lose to Notre Dame?
I mean, I didn't say they couldn't lose. I said they won't lose.
And Will Stone has not. Will Stone has 8 career tackles, no career PATs or field goals.
I was just about to say he does have more tackles this season than he does have ever career PAT or field goal attempts.
Yeah.
Man, that is crazy. By the way, since Barb's 10 mentioned it, let's remind you, watch party, 6:30 kickoff. So it's a 5:30 for those drink specials. Come see us at TCH Social Austin. $1 draft, $2 jellyfish from 5:30 till 1 hour after the game. Come try the Bad Beat Bacon if you have not done that. And we got a special pregame for you at 6 o'clock. Jason and I will be at TCH Social Austin at that point. Also, remember, if you're an online poker freak like Jeff Ketchum and a lot of others, hijack poker.
A poker freak.
Huh?
I'm a poker freak, and then the hijack rewards that itch. It lets me scratch it anywhere in the state of Texas.
This is for online players in the state of Texas. OB20 is your code. It's good through the end of January. It'll get you $20 in free play. We appreciate TCH for being a great partner. Can't wait to get out there for the watch party again today for Texas and Ohio State. Let's grab a couple other super chats. Justin threw 5 at us. Texas defense needs to show how bad Howard really is and show why he got benched at Kansas State, of course. What's your thoughts on Carson Beck going to the portal? I think there are already some reports out there. It might be Miami, fellas. Cody, what'd you make of that one?
Yeah.
They said right before we got on, there was I don't remember. I think Rivals reported it. I'm not sure if somebody else reported after that, but that they said he signed with Miami.
Wow.
Pete Thamel did. Pete Thamel says he's going to Miami. So that's officially done. I think it's probably the right move. There's only a couple spots that really made sense for Beck to go. I think Miami's one. Ohio State could have potentially made sense. I think they obviously got a backload of quarterbacks that they need to go into next year. Oregon, North Carolina, but the Miami thing makes too much sense. I will be interested to see what happens with the receivers, though, because they really don't got 3 guys are graduating or going to the NFL this year. So we'll see what happens in the spring with the portal. But
what's his recovery time from his injury?
I think they posted. They didn't say. So UCL's Tommy John, right? So that's technically like 7 to 9 months generally.
That's crazy, yeah.
You're talking about fall camp. So.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the first part of that one, Jason, maybe there are more important things, but like how critical is Texas pressure on Will Howard going to be in this game for y'all? Is there something in your mind that goes above that? Because that's one of the most important things for me.
Yeah, I talked to some Ohio State people this week for my matchups, and they said just that, Chad. They're like, he can get happy feet, and that causes him to obviously rush things and not go through his progressions, obviously, and be errant with his throws. But if he's given time, he's had 7 games where he's completed 80% or better of his passes. He's got a 170, almost 176 passer rating. So, I don't know how bad Howard really is, Justin. He's actually played pretty well this year.
Yep. Justin, thank you for that $5 super chat. Let's clean one more off in this early batch. If you want to send us some more super chats, they'll go right to the top. $4.99 from Matthew. Do you think Texas coaches will be stubborn with the outside zone and cover 3 on defense? I think Ohio State kills both of those. Or will we see more versatility? Matthew, it's been a big theme.
Can I tell you guys? Well, I know we're on like a super chat, but I think I might be breaking news here.
Okay.
At 11:59 a.m., so right before we came on the air, I did get a source, quote, pretty high-level donor, reporting that Will Stone will be starting today.
Wow.
That's an independent source who told me that before. Like, it's not like they were watching the show and then sent me the text message. They're saying that is going around, and that is so yeah, am I going to go to Twitter and say breaking news? I don't know. I don't know that I'm that confident about it, but that's now officially an on the record and off the record person who's told me this morning that Will Stone will be the starting kicker tonight.
Yeah. Well, and Catch, way back to, I'm sorry, Cody, if I interrupted you. Back to your early comment about Sark and the presser yesterday. If he was willing to discuss it on that level, doesn't that kind of tell you where he was headed? Because why would he discuss it like that if he was still going to go with Auburn? You know what I mean?
Because he's a coach and they love deception, and Will I'm surprised he came out and said that Cam Williams was definitely going to play. What we know about Sark is that, and I don't blame him for this. I mean, it's like telling a spy to stop being a spy. These guys all believe that if it gives them, I remember after we'd had a report on Quinn Ewers. They were originally at one point, I don't even remember what week it was, so this is real non-specific, but it was when it was ankle related, and Anwar had reported that he was going to play or something like that, and there was a person that reached out and was like, hey man, that could have been used as deception during the week. The reporting takes away from the deception. So I think my answer to that, Chad, would just be, when I heard it, I just thought it was BSing.
Right. Okay.
Just that's the reason.
Man. All right. So there you go. As we are sitting here in about 12:30 or so on game day.
Yeah, we didn't respond to that super chat, but
yeah. And what I was going to say,
question, I don't know. I think Kwiatkowski's going to have some tricks up his sleeve, right? I think they're going to have something. Do you try to, how do you defend those receivers? Do you shadow Jeremiah Smith? I don't know, but I got to think they're going to have some tweaks up their sleeve for this game. Maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah, and then in terms of the run game, I would love to see it be a little more deliberate at times, a little more physical, a little more nasty. It's a team you got to punch in the face, but also, guys, I really hope 85 is a part of this game plan. I feel like Gunnar Helm is such a mismatch for a lot of teams, a lot of situations. I just hope Quinn sees him in the right spots, because I feel like he's been open in certain cases. And if they could design a couple things for him in the right spot, I think it could be huge. A physical run game, make sure you're using your badass tight end. I think that's important in this game offensively.
So Cody, if you were to go back into the 2022 season, so following the 5-7 and midway through at 8-5, there was this thing about Sarkisian that his offenses couldn't thrive against kind of the three safety look that Ohio State brings to the table, that it was like his kryptonite. And it was a talking point, and Texas fans would argue about it, and people would post stats, and every time
Alex would argue about it.
What's that?
I said Catch and Alex would argue about it. I seem to remember y'all getting into it on a podcast or something, right?
I argue with everybody, so like I call that Tuesday. So do you, by the way, because I seem to remember, maybe not this specific point, but I feel like I watch you and Anwar go at it.
Oh, that was fun last week. Yeah, that was.
But Ohio State, it's. I think they've had so much success over the last couple of years that talking point just dissolved. Nobody really talks about it anymore. But I'm telling you, before they ever played Iowa State, or if they played in Oklahoma State, or any of the teams that would run those types of defenses, people would point to it and say, this is Sark's kryptonite. So that's what Ohio State does. They probably do, with the best personnel, the best version of this specific scheme that Sark and a lot of people, right? It's not like Steve Sarkisian. There's a reason why this scheme has been successful and why Ohio State would even run it. But the best way to attack that scheme is to probably spread the field out, make those safeties be safeties, and make decisions on wide receivers. And you know what I mean? Like, they're constantly thinking about not giving up the deep ball, playing everything in front of you. They tackle really well. But Ohio State's given up yards in the passing game. You can get them offensively throwing the football. And I just wonder, would Texas be aggressive enough tonight? I know I'm on a little bit of a ramble, Cody, but I'm wondering from your perspective how you would attack this scheme, knowing everything that you know about this Texas team, its personnel, and to be more aggressive in the passing attack and maybe go more empty back sets and just maybe sling it around a little bit. Would you even entertain that? Or is this do what you do and try to do it really well against a scheme that is kind of tailor-made to stop exactly what you do?
I guess going back to like 2022, even last year a little bit, I remember the conversation about Sark struggling with it. But I think when you look at it, the maturation of Quinn too, Quinn's now been in the system for 3 years and he's now played against these defenses multiple times. And I think understands it a little bit better, as well as I know Xavier Worthy, Whittington, Jatavian Sanders, like there was talent on the field, but I think, and Bijan and Roshan stuff, but I think that there's a little bit more speed in total. And talent that's been in the offense and understands the offense, I guess, would be how I'd explain that. And they've grown more horizontal. And being that, I think that can also help bring down those safeties. I was thinking about this morning, to be honest with you, and maybe it is because I was watching some Silas, but for draft prep, but Silas had that big return last week, and that was a big part of that game, or whatever, week and a half against Arizona State. I just wonder if they maybe keep that genie out of the bottle and we see a little more Silas on offense, because that speed's a game changer. And if you can get him on a jet motion or something across the formation and take one of those balls that we've seen Wingo take 55 yards, we've seen Bond take 45 yards, you get something like that and it's a different piece. You get Wingo doing like, I think that there's just so much in this offense, and everybody's always said that with all the motions and change of directions and stuff that Sark utilizes, that I do think that they'll be just fine just running their offense, playing their football. But I have heard the stuff even a little bit in the national media. I know it's predominantly been Ohio State's going to crush them, et cetera, but that the empty formation stuff has worked at a little bit higher rate, I guess, against Ohio State's defense this year. And I don't know, I'll be interested to see how they look at it. But I think with Cam Williams back, I look at the right side of that offensive line. I want to run the football. I want to run some outside zone. I do want to do that behind Cam Williams and DJ Campbell.
This is an Ohio State run defense, though, that's fifth in the nation in rush defense. I mean, and they're good against the pass, too. Obviously,
the elite defenses.
These are both top of the food chain, yeah.
Jason, you asked the question. What was it? Hold on. Let me go to the message board real quick, because it was for your matchups column. And I just read it today. I just now got a chance to look at it. But you titled it, "A Look at the Matchups with Ohio State. Which offense will rise to the occasion?" I don't know if you saw it, but my response on page 3 was neither.
Yeah. I mean, someone in the chat said, like, it's going to come down to, like, Quinn and big game. I mean, this game to me feels like it's going to come down to, like, one big play, kind of like last night, maybe like a turnover late in the game for one team. You know, can Quinn march this offense up and down the field on his arm? I don't know. You know, those safeties are so good. Like, how do you get those guys out of the game? Maybe it's quick stuff. You know, I don't know if this is true or not. I had someone this week tell me, hey, look for Ryan Wingo to be more involved this week. I don't, we'll see. I've heard that before. Then I go out and watch the game and he gets like one pass thrown his way. But someone did tell me, I got a random phone call like, hey, they think Ryan Wingo is going to be a bigger factor this week. So, maybe Cody, you mentioned getting Wingo and Silas. Thank you. Getting Silas going. So, again, I think this is a game on both sides of the ball. I said it earlier about Kwiatkowski. I think both sides of the ball, I think Texas is going to have some tricks up their sleeves that maybe we haven't seen before. But, we're not quite 6 hours away. I'm fascinated for it to get here.
Yeah, interesting idea, Cody. The little jet sweep to Silas Bolden in a big moment. Notre Dame calling that jet sweep to like a big physical, almost like a tight end last night. That was a wild call, but Penn State was not ready for that. That kind of surprise moment, but do it with somebody as fast as Bolden in the right spot. I like that idea. Ketch and I've been in the Silas Bolden fan club for a while, and then we got to interview him on the shows, and he's awesome. So I loved that return last week. I'd love to see more Silas Bolden. We got a couple more super chats coming in. Let's grab Dirkley here. $4.99. Texas has been bad for years. It's time to plant our flag. I see what you did, Dirkley. Saying we are the great Texas again. Quinn is the chosen one.
Oh, boy.
Wow. Quinn certainly has a big opportunity to take a big step tonight if he gets that win against the former team. Our man Oscar jumping in with $4.99 and a bunch of capital letters. Hey Siri, cue the Boys of Fall from Kenny Chesney, even though it's winter. All right. Oscar looking for a little Kenny Chesney today to get him pumped up. And Ben with a $4.99 super chat. Take a shot when number 3 throws an interception in the 4th. Can't keep doing that. It's 4 games in a row and has escaped. Do that this game and we lose. Thoughts? So this is Ben arguing for not going vertical in a big moment?
I'm not quite clear on that, but I think he's right. If Quinn throws an interception in the 4th quarter in this one, I don't think Texas is winning this game. Quinn's going to have to play a clean brand of football, especially down the stretch.
Yeah. Catch, give me your thoughts on vertical Quinn, because vertical Quinn is part of why they won in Tuscaloosa. That's the last time they were this kind of an underdog. They end up winning by 10, showed off the run game at the end. But if he doesn't hit those big verticals, that's a totally different ball game.
I mean, Quinn sucks at throwing vertical balls, so I don't want to see any of it, quite frankly. I don't want to see Quinn Ewers throw a single ball like down the field tonight.
Okay.
I want to see Quinn working the deep intermediate. That's where he's at his best. That is where, if you look at a year ago, where he was at his best, it was throwing those balls. Now, he has not been great this season at throwing the deep intermediate ball, but we know it's in his bag. And I feel like in the last few weeks, specifically, if you go back to the Arizona State and the Clemson games, you could see that Quinn, especially in the Clemson game, Quinn threw that ball in particular, as well as any ball that I think we've seen him throw in that range all season long. This game is indoors. It is in a stadium he will be comfortable in. I don't want to see him throwing the ball. I don't want to see a go route. That's a pick waiting to happen.
Okay.
Because all Quinn's going to do, or it's a pass interference call waiting to happen. All that's going to happen is that Matthew Golden or Isaiah Bond's going to go down the field, and Quinn's just going to throw it, and there will be no synergy in the route or the throw. It's a hope and a prayer every time they do it. And I know they did it against Alabama. And you know what I said after the Alabama game when you and I did a show? If they played that game 10 times, successfully pulling off that throw to both Xavier Worthy and Adonai Mitchell the way that he did, they do that once. That never happens again. That's what I said directly after that Alabama game. And I was like, but hey, it happened the one time, so awesome. We've never seen that ever hit in almost 2 full seasons of football since they played that game in Tuscaloosa. We've never seen Quinn successfully make that same throw and a receiver catch it. But you know what, man? If you tell me right now that Quinn's intermediate and deep intermediate stuff tonight is B+ or better, Texas wins this game. And if he's hitting that throw successfully, they might win this game by 10. Like, it changes everything. My fear in this game is that they're not going to really hit anything successfully, that both offenses and quarterbacks in this game are going to struggle more than they succeed. And, you know, I think it was hard to watch Penn State and Notre Dame last night and series by series not think about the stakes of every drive. You know, Penn State getting the ball back with 40 seconds to go in a tie game with a quarterback who hadn't completed a ball to a wide receiver all game. 59 minutes plus, no completions to wide receivers. They needed to go 50-plus yards to get into field goal range. How could you possibly think that that was obtainable without doing the thing that you haven't done the entire game through 59 minutes? So, no. Don't take any shots. Do what you do best, and don't even, for me in this game, unless you're up a score and there's a big turnover and you're midfield and you're going for it. Otherwise, man, just try to do the things you do best. And with Quinn, and I'm not trying to be insulting to Quinn, like that's just not what he does real well. And it's time to like accept that. And they haven't in the last couple of weeks. I feel like they've been throwing vertical a little bit more. They're not connecting, but they have led to some pass interference penalties because the synergy between receiver and quarterback is so poor that it's led to defensive backs climbing all over the receivers because the ball's either underthrown and the receiver has to set on the, they've weirdly succeeded on some of these, but it's all by accident. You can't go into a game saying, can't wait till the second quarter when we can try to sucker Ohio State into a pass interference penalty. It's just not the thing to do.
Ben, thank you for that super chat. John's got a personnel question. He's thinking about 12 personnel. 199. What do you think of using 2 tight ends in a formation? The last one was about vertical. This is about something that's not necessarily vertical, but Cody, I'll start with you on that. 2 tight ends. Does that matter to you in this game?
It's worked for Ohio State. They switched. They were running, I think the number was 13%, not 12 personnel, so 11 or 20, 21. During the season, they switched to 43% these last 2 games. It's worked out pretty well for them. I don't know if you exactly want to copy that, but I do think Texas could utilize Gunnar Helm and Juan Davis in this game 100%.
Okay. Catch, you
Do
agree?
you think that helps the run game at all, Cody? It does, but how much?
How much is the question, but innately I think it would. Now I do believe that they would probably sniff it out. This, again, you're talking about 2 elite defenses, and they know exactly what the other team's predominantly going to do. So I don't know. I would just do what got you here, right? Like that's the term in fantasy is like play with, like when you get to the fantasy playoffs, play with who got you here. So you played Malik Neighbors all season. You're going to play Malik Neighbors in that championship. You haven't run this different offense or this different formation for the majority of the season. Don't change it up now.
Yeah. And for Sark, that would mean you stick with 11 because that's what he loves.
Yep.
Yeah. Justin is getting a little ahead of himself. I'll warn you. $5 in a super chat. I think Helm is going to be involved more. I took more on the prize picks for him. I think Georgia's run is over for the Natty. Next year is wide open to win 2 in a row. Whoa, Justin. Maybe just breathe a little bit. Got things to do before then. How about that? He's just getting rid of Kirby Smart's group for winning national championships. All right, that is a batch of super chats. If y'all want to throw something in real quick, we got about 5 minutes or so left here, but I don't see any right now. And if you're just jumping in kind of at the end of this thing, if you missed it earlier, Catch is hearing that Will Stone may very well be the kicker in this ball game.
Can I read the report? I made a post on Orange Blitz. Can I read you the post?
Go right ahead.
Update on Texas kicking situation. ... Quote, it took a while this morning for me to get this confirmed, but I have now had multiple people tell me that Will Stone will be the starting kicker tonight. I'm still a little nervous on this one to a degree, so I'm not proclaiming this loudly as definitive, but it is going around.
Okay. There you go.
Like,
it is.
Don't. I guess if Bert Auburn kicks and not Will Stone, don't show up and say that I didn't leave that possibility.
Cody and I both responded with gifts. Cody, I didn't even see yours, and I posted one in there too. So.
I will say you can go over to. You don't want to go post it on Twitter. You don't have to, but you can go over to Pride. You can take advantage of the Bert Auburn numbers that are up right now, and just because he's going to be dressed.
Yeah. It's like I already checked it this morning. Catch when you sent that message on our team's channel. It's like 5.5. It's a real low number for Bert Auburn.
I know.
You went up to 6.
It did? Oh, well, yeah, I'm taking the less. Now, if he doesn't play, they'll probably veto it and kick it out.
Yeah. But he's going to be dressed and he's going to have his helmet on, so who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe he kicks
how do you do that with a kicker? Because if he dresses, he's eligible.
Correct. I don't know.
Who do I pair him with? That's the question.
Yeah, because that's not injury, right? The injury stuff they'll reset, but this is not that. This is just
they'll try to take it off the board if they can, if they find out about it. So I'm going right now to put it in. So I just took a little Bert Auburn.
Yeah, I just took him and some. I took like a goblin of Egbuka to catch 4.
You took a goblin.
It was like just double me up quick. I'll be good.
Little quick double. All right, on the way out here. Man, that is good. That is good. On the way out here, Catch, you want to throw out some, you want to get predictions out? One more issue.
Let everybody have a final thought. Let's just do final thoughts instead of predictions. I think we've all made our predictions.
Okay. Final thoughts then. Cody, you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. Final thought is like I said at the jump, I think this could shape up to be the game of the decade and really put Texas on the map. Not that they already aren't. Pass rush, and run defense for both sides of the football, Ohio State and Texas, I think will be the focal point here. I'm staring right in the eyes of Alfred Collins, Vernon Broughton, and if I'm Sarkisian, I'm headbutting them. No helmet on, headbutting them. Like, this is the game. They're already getting NFL draft conversation, right? Top 3 rounds for both of those guys right now. This is the game where you make that money. This is the game where you take a team to the national championship. This is the game where you control the narrative. You're coming off of Byron Murphy and Tavondre Sweat being looked at as the defensive tackle duo. Vernon Broughton, Alfred Collins, this is your opportunity right here.
I'm going to let the 2 big dogs finish off, so I'll go next. You said pass rush, which is hard to say apparently. I'm going to say tackling. Both sides of the ball. It's a crazy big, important game. These defenses are awesome. I think there could be turnovers in this game. Don't you dare let somebody take one to the house. Don't you dare let a big defensive lineman or linebacker take one to the house and the energy of the building goes completely insane. Sound tackling that way. And then don't let Jeremiah Smith get going with yards per catch. Don't let anybody on Texas get going. You got to tackle in this ball game. The team that's just more sound that way, I think, wins the ball game. So I'm focusing on tackling so the building doesn't explode. Jason, what do you think?
Man, I'm just excited. This is the most excited I've been. The Georgia game was exciting, but this is the most excited I've been to watch a Texas game in a long time. I was thinking about this morning. I picked Ohio State to win a close one. Anwar picked Texas to win. And he and I are both we each are neck and neck for having the best record of picking games. So one of us is going to separate. So now I was thinking if Texas does win, that means Anwar's got a 1-game advantage on me. I know he'll pick Texas over Notre Dame. Then I've got to pretty much pick Notre Dame next week.
No, you don't. You know why? Because Jason, nobody cares.
Probably not. I'll get shit for being wrong if Texas wins this game tonight. Yes, I will. But
you know what I told? You know what I told Onward this week? Because we were talking about our predictions, and I said, "Look, man, if I ever think a game is truly 50-50, kind of like I think this one, 51-49 ish, why would I ever not pick Texas?" The risk versus reward of forever being thrown that in my face, trust me, if I think it's 55-45 Ohio State, I'll pick Ohio State to win. But if it's 50-50 or under 55-45, I got to go with Texas because I will catch eternal hell if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Real quick.
You especially would, yeah. But we both missed the first Georgia matchup. We both picked Texas.
But everybody did, I think.
Yeah, it did. But then Anwar and I picked Georgia in the conference championship game. So we're both, I guess, 14-1, right? And one of us is going to be 15-1. One's going to be 14-2. So not that I'm counting.
Jeff Ketchum?
I took on Prize Picks, my final thought. I put $100. I took the less on the Bird Auburn kicking points.
Damn.
And then I paired it with a green goblin of Jeremiah Smith, 49.5 receiving yards.
Well done. Well played. Well played. Yeah, that's good. I'm
your score's better be right, damn it, because I got two Bird Auburn plays on already, man. I did a $100 one and a $50 one. So.
Bird's going to come through with 6 field goals tonight. Watch. We're just going to be sitting here like, ugh.
That is funny. All right, real quick before we get out of here, our man Tom G wants us to know he just got to TCH and he's playing some poker before the game. Tom G, we'll hope to see you out there. TCH Social Austin, come see us. 183 and Anderson Mill. I'll show you that pretty graphic one more time. We'll watch those 2 quarterbacks. We'll see who's going to go on to face Notre Dame. We will have some bad beat bacon. I know I will for sure. Jason's never been there without getting the bad beat bacon either. So we're both fans. Come get your own and try it. Plus $1 draft, $2 jellyfish starting at 5:30, roll until an hour after the game. We got a little special pregame for you at 6. We got postgame for you as normal after the game is over. We'll see if it's going to be Texas or Ohio State facing Notre Dame. All right, before we get out of here, apparently a big super chat just came in. Maybe it's Tom G because he's sitting at the table. Am I right? No, it's JR. Little 1999. Thank you, JR. Why do you think Texas struggles so much against blitzing teams? Sark's inability to adjust or play calling or Quinn's lack of mobility. Real quick before we get into it, Jason, do you need to run?
I think I'm okay. I got a couple minutes, but part of it,
Okay.
you got to be able to hit downfield against the blitz. I mean, you saw it last night. If they're going to come at you, that's the time to hit them downfield. Texas hasn't been able to make those connections, but I'm sure there's a lot more goes into it than that, but that's part of it.
I would just say the fact that I think we saw early against Georgia for Quinn both times, lack of mobility, I guess, in the pocket and finding those checks. I think we've seen him do well at the line of scrimmage against both Clemson and Arizona State. If he can continue to do well at the line of scrimmage, picking those blitzes up and pointing them out, I think they'll be fine. But mobility and checks to line, I think, are the big thing.
Yeah, I completely agree.
We know Quinn is as healthy now as he's been all season. If you told me that they could successfully mix in, if Quinn had the run threat that he had against A&M, just a couple of chain moving runs, and then you tell me they mix in a couple of successful end arounds or jet sweeps, it's just enough in this game that I think. I watched. Was it Penn State that at one point ran that little jet sweep with the receiver, the big guy, and it was like 3rd and 2, and he picked up 12 or whatever. And I remember watching that in the game, and I was like, I want to see that 3 times tomorrow night sprinkled in. And then when they don't run it, I want to see them running stuff off of that fake. And Cody talked about it. There's a lot of little things that you can do within the offense that you've done all season against this Ohio State team that can create some slim margins. It might be the thing that creates a victory.
Jason Sukumel, take care. He's got to jump out real quick, go take care of some things. He will be at TCH Social Austin with me later. Get on out there. By the way, to Skip, who wants to know what the hell is a jellyfish, Skip. It is an incredible beer. Come out to TCH Social Austin. They're $2. It'll change your life. I promise. If you love beer, we'll change your life today with a jellyfish. I promise you. All right, let's see. What else? I don't see any other super chats, gentlemen. No other super chats right now. Anything else, Catch? For now?
We're 5.5 hours away from man, we don't get to be fans, but it's hard not to just really be looking forward to this with a lot of anticipation from a football fan standpoint. Last night was so good. Those aren't great teams, but that was a great game. I think these are the 2 best teams in the country in terms of talent and upside, and maybe they haven't done that all season long, but this just feels like it's going to be a hyper competitive game. I don't anticipate either team separating. It's not who these teams have been against really good teams, although Ohio State has been for the last 2 weeks. I tend to fall on the line of thinking that better to have Ohio State get that out of their system than I think it's more likely that they play back down a little bit than there is that they found the switch. And then for the 3rd week in a row, we're going to see Ohio State play at a super elevated form. I literally just had a buddy of mine, a source, who sent me a text and was like, I'll tell you guys later what the text really was. But, he feels the same way. There's a lot of confidence that this Texas football team is really, really good. But can they, in this moment, play their best football game? Ohio State did a week ago, and you give them a lot of credit for it. It's the thing that Texas has to prove tonight. They can't win with a B- performance. You can't beat Ohio State in a playoff game for what is essentially a national championship. You can't do it. So can Texas play B+ or better? Because I think B+ could win the game. And when was the last time we thought they played B+, Cody?
Clemson was pretty close. I know Florida maybe on offense. In a total game,
it's Florida.
Yeah, it's probably Florida.
Yeah. By the end of it, if I add it all up, I could maybe argue Clemson was B+, 292 yards rushing and stuff like that. Maybe.
Yeah, but we do think of that from a defensive perspective as a game. And I don't think it's fair because I don't think Texas played poorly on defense. I think Cade Klubnik and those receivers and his tight ends were exceptional. And I think those 2 things can exist in the same sentence and be true and not have to be mutually exclusive. So maybe it's Clemson, but I still think even coming out of the Clemson game, that's close. It is at least a B. So maybe it is a B plus. But if you're sitting at home and you're saying, you know what, you're not beating Ohio State with a B plus, you need an A minus at a minimum. Now we're going to Florida. So Clemson, probably I can live with B plus. But if the point is you need a high level, I don't think the Clemson performance was good enough to beat Ohio State. So maybe I'm hedging my bets on B plus being good enough.
Florida, I think A&M performance could.
Right up until the point that should have been a 31-0 or 38-0 game. And then offensively, they turned the ball over. Quinn throws a pick six. They played themselves into a game that got a wee bit scary when that should have been a dominating cruise control performance. So they were this close. Mm-hmm. You're midway through the third quarter and you're this close to like an A plus performance. And then they did the part that made it not an A plus performance or an A minus performance in my mind.
All right, Catch, before we wrap up, I know this is a bit of a different show, but it is the Friday before a Texas game. The game is on Friday in this case, but we do have a Scottish guy we could play if you want.
Absolutely.
Yes? Okay.
Well, of course.
Somebody asked about it. So before we get out of here, we will hit that. Thank you all for thank you for asking.
You know what I want to know?
Yeah, we all
go down to Georgia. What is? Oh, we're in Dallas.
We all know what Catch wants to know.
I want to know who the song.
Yep. Here we go. All right, Scottish guy before Texas and Ohio State. I'm not afraid to take a stand. Everybody, come take my hand. We'll walk this road together through the storm, whatever weather, cold or warm. And speaking of weather, bring those snowshoes to Arlington. It's time, my little burnt orange babies. The next step towards Sark's first title. But if you listen to the national media, the Horns have no shot. Ohio State is just too good, and Mr. Smith will walk all over them. Well, I guess that's it then. Ohio State, 62... Wait. Breathe in, breathe out. We've been here before. The national yelling over each other competition does this all the time. Let's shine some light on this monster in the closet. Hey, Santa Cheeks, you beat Tennessee. They lost to Arkansas. Stop bragging. You beat Oregon. Congrats. They barely beat Boise and Wisconsin. And they beat you in October. You think Texas is scared of you? The last time the Horns were doubted like this, they took a defense, deep balls, and a running game to T-Town and made Nick Saban consider working with Pat McAfee. Plus, UT did something this year that you forgot how to do. Beat Michigan. True story. And they didn't even need a late kick to do it. Just beat them up for 4 straight quarters, just like they're gonna do to you. Which brings us back to Smith. This just in, Bucknuts. The only way he beats Texas is if you snap him the ball and you've been hiding Michael Vick. Otherwise, he'll never be a factor. Why? Because the Thorpe Award winner is watching. Hill and Simmons are waiting. And Collins, Sorrell, Broughton, and Burke are coming. And there's the little secret the Vols and Ducks missed. Your QB is a Jag. He's a misfit toy from the island of Snyder that couldn't beat Texas from the doorstep with 4 plays and no clock running. He lost to just defense against Michigan, but he's never seen a defense like this. Plus, the Texas QB just stared 4th and 13 in the face and smiled. You're not beating him when he's on a heater and back home. The Sun Devils came at the King and missed. And now the media's got Texas thinking they've got no chance. Good luck, Coach Day. All the rope you just bought yourself over 2 games is about to be gone. UT 62, the fan base that all other fan bases strive not to be. Yep, including that one. 3. This is SG. REALITY. And before we get out of here, a chatter reminds us of the former nickname of the Ohio State quarterback, Will Spill the Pill. That was his name. That's what they called him when he was at Kansas State, because he would fumble all the time. He doesn't.
You calling out Ohio State as being the fan base that all other fan bases do their best to not emulate was my Scottish guy calling out the Ohio State fan base as that was so chef's kiss perfect.
They're a special group, man. Through the years, 25 plus years of doing this, radio and this and all the stuff, every time bad fan bases come up, Texas fans climb over each other to tell you about Ohio State. You always mention this. You're one of the ones I always think about. The 05 game and how you were treated and how people around you were treated.
They reported my treatment in the Columbus Dispatch 5 days later.
Yeah, I have never heard anybody try to call it down and go, no, Chad, look, we went to Columbus that night. They couldn't have been nicer. I know other people experience, it just never happens.
You know who has never said those words out loud? A single woman who wore burnt orange that night.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a special group. It
Let
really
me tell you,
is.
the people in C-Town love the C word.
Yeah, fair enough.
All of the C words, all of them.
Yeah. By the way, real quick on a strange connection. Today happens to be Marcus Freeman's birthday. Happy 39 to the Notre Dame coach. You guys know where he went to school?
Cincinnati?
No, I don't.
Ohio State.
Ohio State. Oh, that's right.
Yeah. He's a Buckeye. So if they face Ohio State, it's him against Ohio State. The other way around, how about if it's Texas and Notre Dame? Jaden Greathouse gets to take on Texas after the Westlake product didn't just have kind of a game. He had one of the biggest plays of that game with 4 minutes to go. 4.5 to go. He scores that touchdown to tie things up. So Greathouse would get to take on former Westlake teammates and Texas in a championship game. All right. I think we are just about done, but we're not done for the day because the game is at 6:30. We're going to hit you with a special pregame at 6. I'm going to make my way out to TCH Social Austin. Come join us out there. 183 in Anderson Mill. Jason Sukumel will be out there as well. Come watch the game with us. We'll have post-game afterwards. And hopefully we're talking about Texas and Notre Dame. No history in that title game.
Oh, my God.
Good God in heaven. Is that what we're going to be talking about? That would be incredible. All right. We'll see who Notre Dame's opponent is. Thank you for liking, subscribing, getting your notifications. Obviously, keep your eyes peeled for the very latest on that kicking situation, the injuries and everything. Orangebloods.com. Sorry there, Cody. Just real quick, we'll throw a QR code up there. Not that I'm trying to shut Cody up with the QR. There you go. There it is. The pointing is always key. Orangebloods.com. Check it out. All right. Until 6 o'clock tonight for the pregame, we are House Divided or special modcast or pregame or whatever. But we're Orange Bloods Live, and we thank you for your support.